Mitten crabs are one of the most expensive and sought-after delicacies in China, but what very few people know is that they're available here in the River Thames.
Mitten crabs in their millions are taken over the Thames. They hitched a ride on slow boats from China in the 30s, and with few natural predators, their population has exploded.
Chinese mitten crabs, officially listed as one of the world's 100 worst invasive species, are native to the coastal rivers and estuaries of the Yellow Sea. They thrive in rivers and brackish water estuaries, and they are also found along the marine coastline. They can be identified by their gray-green or dark brown coloring. Chinese mitten crabs are a delicacy in China and therefore have considerable economic value in the Chinese fishing industry.
It also has these woolly mittens on its claws, which makes it incredibly distinctive. It reaches up to about 10 centimeters across its back, and it has these 4 distinctive spines either side of its eyes.
Chinese mitten crabs were first discovered in the San Francisco estuary in 1992. Introduction into the SF Bay may have been a deliberate attempt to create a fishery for the species, but they were most likely introduced by accidental release from ballast water. The Chinese mitten crabs are an invasive species, and their presence can lead to both economic and ecological damage. Commercial and recreational fishing operations have been affected by bait stealing, damage to fishing gear, and a reduced catch total due to the unintentional catching of the crabs. These crabs have become a nuisance for commercial bay shrimp trawlers in the South Bay. Shrimp trawlers have reported that a large catch of mitten crabs will damage and kill the shrimp, making the shrimp unsuitable for the bait market. Furthermore, a large number of caught crabs will damage the fishing nets. Although shrimp trawlers have been able to move to areas with fewer crabs, this option diminishes as the mitten crab population grows. The successful establishment and spread of these crabs in the San Francisco estuary is likely due to the region's geography. The extensive network of estuaries provides an abundance of potential spawning and living habitats for the crab, and the semi-enclosed shape of the whole bay helps to retain the larvae.
The Chinese mitten crab has significant ecological impacts on the areas that it invades because it's a voracious detritivore. It eats almost anything in its path, and it's a particular fan of small snails.
Mitten crabs are omnivores, with the young crabs eating mostly vegetation and algae, but preying on small animals and a variety of other benthic invertebrates as they grow older. As a result, not only are the native populations at risk, but the structure of the estuaries as a whole are at risk to change as well. Chinese mitten crabs like to burrow deep into riverbanks, especially in tidal areas where predators can find them during low tide. However, this burrowing activity accelerates the erosion of banks and levees and increases the risk of flooding in these areas.
Sadly, we don't have a solution where we've got mitten crabs. We can't really do much about that. There's obviously a lot of people who'd like to trap them, but that doesn't really significantly reduce the population. And what we are keen to do is prevent further spread, because obviously it's potentially quite a serious threat to a lot of estuaries.
Unfortunately, there are a limited number of options that are available to fight this issue. California currently has regulations that make it illegal to possess or transport mitten crabs. Also, the International Convention for the Control and Management of Ships' Ballast Water and Sediments was put in place in 2004 to prevent transportation of invasive species through ballast water. However, there are still issues with policing and regulating these practices. Mitten crabs are a delicacy in China, and up to $40 can be paid for a single crab. Because of this, commercial exploitation of the crabs may be a viable method of reducing the population size. However, creating a market for these crabs will make people more inclined to want to spread the species, which makes this an unattractive solution to both the Bay Area and the UK. Mitten crabs have already been found in Seattle, San Francisco, and Los Angeles airports, which shows that people have already tried to establish commercial fisheries elsewhere. To prevent the introduction of mitten crabs, as with other invasive species, preventative measures are the most effective means of ensuring that invasion and spread of this species does not take place.